Hey everybody, this is Matt's Amazing. I'm making a results and review video for WWE Roadblock. It just ended, and I wanted to talk about it and just talk about the matches and see how it all went. It was held on Saturday, which is different than it normally is held on Sunday. Let's just go ahead and get to it. First match, the New Day versus the League of Nations for the WWE Tag Team titles. One of the things that was really making me wondering, why did the League of Nations have a chance for the WWE Tag Titles? That didn't make a lot of sense to me. Anyways, if you look at Sheamus, he's growing a beard now, which doesn't really work with the Scottish dreads he has on his face. I don't know. The match was okay. New Day retained the titles, which they needed to do because there's still nobody on the main roster that feels appropriate to take their titles away from them. Nobody else has as much life and character in them than the New Day right now. So I think they're going to continue to have the titles around. The match was alright, but it felt like a standard Raw SmackDown match. You know, it didn't really excite me any. Moving on to the second match, Chris Jericho versus Jack Swagger. Why are they fighting? Why is it Chris Jericho versus Jack Swagger? I thought it was going to be like Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles, which that would make the most sense after he's attacked them on Raw and SmackDown. But for some reason they sent Jack Swagger after him, and at the very beginning of it, Chris Jericho takes 5 minutes to trash Canada and everything that's wrong with Canada and try to get the crowd so much behind him, and it doesn't work one so bit. People start booing Swagger. Just Swagger is not liked. He's not over. Nobody likes him. He needs to just get out of the WWE, in my honest opinion. Nobody likes it. But the commentators, it was so funny. The commentators were trying to praise Swagger, if he beats Chris Jericho tonight, he could be back in shot for a run for the championship. I'm like, no, he freaking ain't. Come on, be real, dude. Be real. The match, wasn't much of anything, and Chris Jericho won, and not much to say about that, really. Next match of the night was Enzo and Cass versus the Revival for the NXT Tag Team titles. And honestly, I felt it was a pretty good match. But the Revivals kept their titles. And again, I'm in this situation where I really love Enzo and Cass, and most of the WWE universe loves Enzo and Cass. They are so over compared to so many other people on the roster, and yet they keep losing these tag team title opportunities. I don't get that. It doesn't make any sense. I'm telling WWE either send them to the main roster or give them the WWE and the NXT tag titles. Either way, I don't know what they're doing. Enzo and Cass, I feel like they would have enough charisma and character to be able to go up to the main roster and rival the New Day. And maybe this was WWE giving the main roster viewers the exposure to Enzo and Cass before they bring them up. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's funny, the Revival got no pop whatsoever. The fans were not into the Revival under any circumstances. But there was good storytelling. Enzo can play that weak, get beat up the whole time match, and then when Cass comes in, he's kicking butt and all that kind of stuff. That's really, it was a really decent match. I just hope Enzo and Cass can get to the main roster, or at least get the NXT Tag Team titles ASAP, or it just feels like a misuse of them, with them being so over. Okay, so the next match was Charlotte versus Natalya. Charlotte versus Natalya for the Divas title, which is weird because they showed this 3-minute clip from before the match started where Natalya basically calls the Flair's a coward and gets a title shot. That's basically what Becky Lynch did on Raw or SmackDown or whatever it was, early, a few weeks ago, and I'm just like, so is that how everybody's gonna get a title match? Hey Flair, you're a coward. You got yourself a title match. But the match was really good. Like, this showed like there can be good quality Divas matches on the main roster, and it doesn't all have to be NXT women. Natalya can wrestle. She's looking good tonight. She can wrestle with the best of them. They put on a great match, and it had a "This is awesome" chant. It was rightly deserved, and the crowd popped whenever Natalya got Charlotte in the sharpshooter. But Charlotte has a 3-way at WrestleMania, so she kept the title. But it was a good match. This match was weird. It was weird. So it was listed as Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt. But what ended up happening was Bray Wyatt comes on the mic at the very beginning of the match and says, "The two of us will be taking on Brock Lesnar," and then it ends up just being Luke Harper versus Brock Lesnar, which I think in some way is smart, because you don't want to have Brock Lesnar just destroy Bray Wyatt now, because then that removes the possibility of there being a future angle. But it just felt weird just being Brock Lesnar versus Luke Harper. It definitely felt like a Raw or SmackDown match. But every Brock Lesnar match feels epic. So there was stuff to look in. There was stuff to appreciate about Luke Harper. Looked good in the match. I mean, like the very first part of the match, I would say the first third of the match, Luke Harper's beating up Brock Lesnar. So they really made him look pretty decent. But again, Brock came in near the end and just destroyed him. Multiple suplexes. You know how that goes. The one thing I didn't like was Bray didn't interfere. It was supposed to be a 2-on-1 match, but Bray just kind of didn't even try to jump in the ring. Didn't even try to have the number of enemies against Brock. It shows me they're really protecting Brock right now, because they don't want to make him look weak at all going into WrestleMania against Dean Ambrose, and they're really protecting Bray Wyatt right now, because I don't know, maybe they're realizing we can't have Bray Wyatt lose at every single pay-per-view and still be a contender. I don't know, but it's okay match. It's okay. Okay, so Sami Zayn versus Stardust. The epitome of a SmackDown match, if there ever was one. A decent pop for Sami, and Sami seems to be really over with this crowd, so that's a great thing. But the match was just boring. I ended up surfing the internet while watching this, because it just did not grab my attention, and it felt just like a SmackDown match in all elements. Just Sami Zayn won, and yeah, I mean, no trying to Kevin Owens didn't come out and try to disrupt the match or anything. It just was a basic little match. Okay, the main event, Dean Ambrose versus Triple H for the WWE title. I would say this match was pretty good. Triple H can still go, back and forth between Ambrose and Triple H. Ambrose going after Triple H's leg. Triple H is beating the crap out of Ambrose. Ambrose can sell stuff, so Ambrose can make anybody look strong. So he put over Triple H really well throughout the match. And at one point, Ambrose pinned Triple H, got the 3 count, but his feet was underneath the rope. So the referee was like, "No, that didn't count." And then you kind of knew it was over with then, because the commentators were like, "Well, Ambrose proved he could beat the game tonight." Yeah, he's not winning, and so Ambrose basically jumps onto a table, hurts himself, and I'm thinking to myself, please don't run into a single pedigree and get pinned. Please don't run into a single pedigree and get pinned. And he runs into the ring into a single pedigree and gets pinned. I guarantee you at WrestleMania, Reigns will eat multiple pedigrees and still win. But Ambrose can't eat one and it just beats him. It's the same exact thing with what's happened in the past where Ambrose will hit dirty deeds on Reigns multiple times. Reigns will kick out. Reigns spears Ambrose once. 1, 2, 3. It just, I feel like they're making Ambrose seem crazy but weak, you know? Which will hurt Ambrose in the future when he actually tries to get the title, because it may not be that believable. So, overall, I thought this was a pretty weak pay-per-view. Had a lot of like SmackDown level matches. You know, the first match for the WWE, I mean, there was titles on the line, but it really just felt like a SmackDown or Raw. And I hate to say that. The first match, you know, it felt like a SmackDown Raw. The second match, definitely SmackDown match. This was a nice match to have. It was nice to expose the crowd, the main roster crowd, to the NXT people. You know, a good decent match, but again, just a SmackDown match. Brock Lesnar versus Luke Harper. Brock Lesnar can make any match feel like a pay-per-view match. So I would say this one definitely felt like a pay-per-view match, even though it was kind of short. Stardust, Sami Zayn, that's SmackDown all the way. And then, you know, Dean Ambrose versus Triple H. I think I would put Triple H in the same boat as Brock Lesnar. Any match he's in feels like a pay-per-view match. So we had like 2 quality pay-per-view matches in this pay-per-view. Everything else really felt like a SmackDown. And I would say overall it was an okay pay-per-view, but it just, the scope of it didn't feel that great. And you know, it seemed like a pay-per-view that some people could just skip out on, because there wasn't a single title change, a single, you know, surprise win. There was no run-ins, no interference, no special surprises or anything. So you kind of could sleep through it, you know, and just skip it and not really care. And I kind of hate that, because Dean Ambrose versus Triple H is a great match I would love to see multiple of. Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt, the same exact case. I would love to see multiple of that. But they threw it on Roadblock, and Roadblock is kind of just a skippable pay-per-view. And now I wonder if they'll ever go back to it, you know? If they'll ever get a chance to actually do these matches the justice they really deserve. Oh well. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope they make more videos like this about WWE pay-per-views. And I hope you enjoy Raw in 2 nights. Yeah, it's Saturday. It wasn't on Sunday. It's kind of weird. I don't know. But thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.